brand new floor plan for Montana featuring both a rear living room and a rear bunkhouse. And if you're kind of curious how they pulled that off, stay tuned. This thing's pretty cool. Hey everybody, Josh RV Nerd here at our Coldwater, Michigan Superstore with a brand new floor plan for Montana, the 351 bunkhouse. As I said, it's basically the 295 Montana with a bunk room slapped on the back of it. And as unglorious as that sounds, this is a really cool floor plan that actually I'm liking a lot more than I thought I was going to. It's effectively acting as a replacement for the 364 Montana, even though that wasn't really similar to this at all. And it's interesting to me because it shares a lot of similarities and parallels with the 341 Montana. Now, all of those numbers might mean nothing to you, but if you are familiar with those, I'd really love some feedback from you guys, what you think of these like this compared to those other two things. In the meantime, what do we have here? Well, we've got the #1 most popular brand of fifth wheel since the dawn of time. Keystone Montana is the single most successful fifth wheel in history, if I could spit my words out, although it's freezing right now, so my face hurts. Anyway, we have a warranty for full-time RVing, 6-point automatic leveling, carpetless floor flush slides in the living room, including the kitchen. That's a new thing updated on the 22 High Countries. No more cable slides. They got rid of those entirely on these. The underbelly, enclosed heated 12-volt tank heaters, an extremely good hot-cold camping package. Every single Keystone, not just Montana, has some level of factory solar on it now. They just keep improving. They just keep getting better and better as they go. I love how this one brings us all those windows on the door side, but still with that opposing super slides. It's funny because when I first walked in, the living room on this one felt backwards to me, but the more I looked at it, the more I realized it's a normal living room. You just don't usually get a normal living room in a bunkhouse. And in a way, like, it actually reminds me a lot, if you took the mid-bunk Montana High Country and you shoved the middle room to the back of the trailer, it's basically what it is. Take a look and tell me what you think. And it's funny because it's a new floor plan, but it's also not a new floor plan. And here's what I mean. Like I said, it's a rear living room with a rear bunkhouse. And you're like, I don't understand how that could be. So we've got a bunkhouse on the back. But as we start moving our way toward the front of the trailer like we're doing right now, at first glance, it felt a little foreign to me. But then, as I got to looking, I just all of a sudden went, wait a minute. Montana already builds this as a non-bunkhouse called the 295 rear living. And again, if you'd like to learn more about that, I'll leave you a link in the video description where you can see, like, if you like this, you're like, I like that living room, I like that bedroom, I just don't need bunks. Montana builds it both ways now. Because if you look at this, if that was just a rear wall, this is a rear living room floor plan. They just happen to take like the middle room of a mid-bunk and shove it on the back of the RV. And I know I sound like I'm repeating myself here, but it's just kind of funny. That's just basically what happened here, but it works really, really well. And I like this decor. Like, it's farmhousey without being farmhousey, if that makes any sense. But I've got a lot to cover on this. I'm gonna just start working from the top down so I don't start missing a bunch of crap. The big XL vent fan here has a rain sensor on it, which is nice. Now, in the bathroom, the little 4-inch fart fan is actually the standard, but you can option one of those in the bathroom on a High Country. On a Big Brother Full Monty, it'll just be standard with the big fan in the bathroom. Now, look at the number of AC vents up in the ceiling here. There's a ton of them in this camper. That's because this has the new Blade Pure air conditioning system. When we get into the bunk room and the, well, yeah, especially the bunk room, you'll get to see where the residential air filtration system is located on that unit. What they found here is they found a way to give us more air cooling our living room more quickly with less noise. And I think that is pretty awesome. And once again, this solves a problem I think a lot of bunk rooms have, and I think this floor plan will be very successful. So many bunkhouses have crappy living rooms and crappy entertainment centers. Because this one has the heart of a rear living room, it doesn't have that issue. As you see right there, the television is straight across from the theater seat. And it's on a double jointed swing arm. We'll get to see that when we're looking at all the kitchen storage in just a minute. So if you want to kind of pivot it over toward that hide-a-bed sofa right there, do you want to have a little conversation corner? If you want to keep twisting shouting it over here toward the dining area, you can do that too. Or you could be the campsite cook in the kitchen when everyone else is outside. You've got all the door side windows here where you can keep an eye on the family and make sure the kids aren't, you know, ruining the neighbor's campsite or something like that when they're all jacked up on marshmallows and Mountain Dew. But those also have blackout night roller shades. My point is, there's not a bad seat in this house. Whether you're inside, whether you're outside, you got the double awnings. Like, this thing just starts checking an insane number of boxes to me. Real quick, just to give you a look at that hide-a-bed right there, to get to see that thing in action. Now, one of the things I want to point out here, as compared to the 295 that I've mentioned several times, instead of having side stands on either side of a rear living room sofa, they had to make room for that staircase. So that is a 2-person sofa. That's not a 3-seater like you tend to find in a true couples camping rear living. That is not the largest hide-a-bed as a result. But again, we've got 2 giant bunks back here for awesome sleeping capacity. I think this works just fine. And the fact that all of these windows open for airflow rocks my socks off right here. Now, one of the other cool things on this over here is this. Yeah, it's a power reclining theater seat, but it maintains cuddle compliance, or if you're a little bit bigger in the hips, in the shoulder, whatever, you know, if you're a larger person, or frankly, if you just like to cuddle up to the person next to you, or, you know, wrap a bunch of grandbabies around you or something like that, you've got plenty of space to do that here. Now, this is a high country, meaning you have a choice between the table and chairs that we're looking at right here and a booth dinette. And I would be really, really curious to know, in this model, being a bunkhouse, which way would you go? Because either way, you still have 4 seating capacity. I went with the table and chairs on this one because, again, it does have that nice living room sort of look and feel that most bunkhouses really, really lack. But the booth is available. I'm totally not opposed to bringing one in, stocking it with a booth or anything like that. Heck, I'd have to check my order sheets. It's entirely possible that we have something like that come in. We have so many trailers on order. I can't keep it all straight right now. Anyway, straight across from your primary theater seating. And again, from that hide-a-bed, this is the view before the TV's even swung out. The entertainment area in this is absolutely phenomenal. They really, really nailed it. Down below, you got that electric space heating Tootsie toaster. That's another cool thing on this. Your main air conditioner, hold on, it's right above us. I'm gonna try to move slow, and I'm looking straight up. I don't wanna make somebody motion sick, but it's hard to see from other angles. That right there has a 16,500 BTU heat pump on it. That fan, by the way, is a 12-volt ceiling fan instead of 110 residential, which is very uncommon. Now, we've got a heat pump built into the ceiling. We have an electric space heater down here that's a little over 5,100 BTUs of heating. Plus, the RV has 12-volt tank heaters. One of the cool things on all of your Montanas is standard. They basically have an electric and a propane heating system that you can run simultaneously if you want some serious heat pumping into this thing. Now, up front here, you've got the central vac system built into those stairs right there. And to start looking at everything here, let's take a look at all of the kitchen storage. Let me get you some passes around here. One of the other things that I want to tell you about this is on some of these outlets, right there to the left of the stovetop, you'll actually see these yellow stickers that indicate that is a outlet that is pre-wired to the inverter run. So whether the RV has one or if you choose to add one, you could potentially be able to run those outlets off grid, which I think is very, very cool. And again, not a lot of RVs offer that. What do you think of these little pendant light fixtures right there? I kind of like them. I like them. I like that, I don't know. It's very modern, but rustic at the same time. Does that make sense? Like, the phrase modern contemporary is so worn out and cliche. I get it, but I also think it's kind of fitting, you know? Now, something they did over here that I really like, and they didn't have to do this. They could have just run those steps beside the sofa and no one would have been the wiser. But putting that little divider right there, I think not only does it give you a place to set a drink when you're on that rear sofa, but I think it just really helps define that we're like kind of leaving the living room. And it's almost like it defines sort of like a residential staircase when you're going upstairs. It's just obviously a very small one. Little motion activated light down there, so if someone's coming up and down the steps at night, they don't have to flip on all the lights to bother everybody. And those outlets right next to that side stand, that is handy right there. And frankly, if you've got a ton of people sleeping in this thing, I think like virtually every sleeping position in this RV is like CPAP friendly. The Little Things Montana does, their bedroom doors, they do this all the time, but here in this bunk room door, that magnet is no joke. And if that door flips open in transit, it cannot get caught behind that slide fascia and get absolutely Hulk smashed. It's just the little things that Montana does that I like. Now, when I first walked into this room, when I first opened this door, initially I was disappointed, and then I realized I was stupid for doubting Montana, and here's what I mean by that. When I first walked in, I saw, okay, TV hookups. If I want to put a TV against the wall, fine. But then I just saw this empty box in front of me. I'm like, I cannot believe they wasted that spot for storage. But again, my biggest error was thinking that Montana didn't know their stuff. Whether it's the top bunk or the bottom bunk, and again, I'm trying to move slow to not make everybody motion sick here. Let me get you around the corner a little bit to give you an idea of the extra depth and space in there. They utilized every little nook and cranny of this thing. Each bunk has several lights that can be, you know, kind of individually controlled. Each bunk has its own household and USB outlets. Each bunk has this huge mattress down here that is absolutely adult sized. And frankly, just to give you an idea of how much room we have to work with here before we hop upstairs, the bedroom and bathroom, let me kind of climb in there and give you like a visual reference. Now, this is very much not a flattering angle to me. I'm backlit, I'm being viewed from the top. I got two coats on, which makes me look even puffier than normal. But even that, there's a lot of room in here. Two adults, or one or two big kids or something like that, could very easily occupy this space. And I'll tell you what, I really appreciate the fact laying here that Montana went with a thicker mattress back here. Personally, I would still throw a foam topper or something like that on one of these. I don't care if it's a hide-a-bed, a master bed back here. I'm going to get one of those little rollaway foam toppers if needed. But look at this. At 6'3", I guess you can't really see the ceiling here. I didn't frame that up. But at this point, sitting straight up and down, the little peach fuzz on top of my head is just starting to rub the ceiling panel right here. That's really rare when you get a stacked bunk situation, but because they have all the extra upper headroom of a fifth wheel, they have plenty of room to do this. I'm very comfortable. I'm very happy back here. I think this is very cool. And something you're not seeing is there's vents right there. So whether it's the upper vent or the lower vent, you're getting climate control back through this entire room so this thing doesn't turn into a hot box. Because the last thing anyone wants is to sit here and get hot boxed. Am I right? Now, jumping from the back of the trailer upstairs here to the bathroom, this is another one of those areas where we kind of see how it's really just the 295 Montana with a bunk room slapped on the back. It's actually the same upper deck as the 281 Montana if you're looking for something even smaller, although, again, that's a couple's model. In these high countries, the big XL vent fan that we're seeing here in the bathroom, that's actually an optional piece of equipment. It is something that, you know, I think most everybody would like to put on given the opportunity. Is there anybody who wouldn't want the bigger fan on one of these? I'm kind of struggling to see why anybody wouldn't. I also suspect that this is a point where I may lose some of you on this camper. Again, I don't mind kind of pointing out things like that might be deal breakers for some folks. There's a lot of people that just don't like the radius showers like you see in here. That is kind of just a necessary item that they had to go to help keep the total length of this thing in check a little bit with this condensed windshield bedroom front end that we're going to see in just a second. And actually on that note, you know, taking a look up front here, you kind of see how the bedroom and the bathroom have to sort of play ball together. Because to give us that nice big open looking feeling bedroom with that cool front windshield, you know, they couldn't have washer dryer hookups up there.
But Montana's not one to like drop the ball and just say, oh, well, you know, that must not be important to people. They understand how that's an important factor to a lot of folks. And they actually just moved it. Because what you have here is an interesting super slide-ish sort of thing in the upper deck. It's a little cold. Pardon my breath for fogging up the lens a couple times there. You might notice how this slide actually goes all the way up through the bedroom. It actually comes over here into the bathroom space, and that's where you see your washer dryer hookup, or it could just be additional closet space, as it were. It's a nice handy chunk of storage right there. And in case you're curious, yes, you do have a sliding privacy door to close off the bedroom from the bathroom here. Now, I like the vanity position on this one. I like that it's a full medicine cabinet. I have a lot of people say, oh, wow, that's really weird how they put the faucet off to the side. This is one of those things that, like, I get how on camera it looks and it feels weird. I'm telling you, if you actually use the RV in person, you put your hands in the sink, they get wet just like normal. Like, it functions normally, although I definitely get how it looks a little funky monkey. I kind of realize this is a little bit better angle to, check out all the storage going on down here as well. And I love how they gave us space for a wastebasket in the bathroom here. It's like we're finally getting to the point, a lot of manufacturers are starting to give us wastebasket space like in the kitchen, but we're still struggling trying to find manufacturers who are willing to give us wastebasket space in other rooms like the bathroom, which, I mean, I don't know about you. I know that I certainly use a wastebasket in my personal bathroom at my home every single day. I don't know why it'd be any different in a camper, but it seems like that's just the kind of thing that RV designers just don't always tend to think about. But it's that death of a thousand paper cut little touches that Montana does that I think help separate them. Now, remember, we've got that Blade Pure air system up here where you have more vents putting more cold air into the room with less noise and better, filtration off of those things, which is always kind of nice. We are 6.5 foot tall here in the upper deck, and my voice just cracked like I was back in middle school. I will never forget. Oh, man, here's a little history from your Uncle Josh. I'm in 7th grade giving a history report in front of the class, and that's the day my voice decided it was going to change. Needless to say, that didn't do me any good for a while. And as we look through the bedroom storage here, I do kind of want to remind you that, again, you have that big closet space in the bathroom. Now, you might lose that if you choose to put a little, like, washer-dryer combo unit in there. You got to kind of keep that stuff in mind. I've also learned, if I don't specifically overtly mention this, there's always one person who freaks out. The TV hookups in the bedroom here are over there, like, well, you see them on the ceiling, and then you could mount a TV on the wall. If I don't mention those, there's always one person who's like, oh my gosh, they totally failed. I can't believe they built this thing with no TV hookup in the bedroom. No, it's there. Don't worry about that. So even if you do throw in the washer dryer setup, you at least have, like, a mine and yours kind of closet situation going on. Now, I tend to be a travel trailer casual camper, so a big full-time and capable fifth wheel like a Montana, not always sort of the speed that I'm camping, Like, I can have a Walmart bag with 3 t-shirts, and I could bring 3 socks, and I could get through a weekend. My wife, though, tends to be far more organized, and that's not a dig at her. Her organization has bailed us out of more get out of jail free type situations than I could even count. And just in case you're curious, yes, you can maintain full blackout privacy up here in the bedroom space. It's not like you'll be accidentally putting on a free show for the neighbors when you get out of the shower and you're changing into your evening wear or whatever the case may be. One thing with this slide system, it does occupy a little bit more space under the bed. And that's why I like to take the extra time and effort to open all this stuff up for you guys so you can see that. There is still storage under here. It's maybe not quite as much storage as it otherwise could be. You might notice how, you've got some various system things going on back there. But, if you've got some of those flat totes or, folded clothes or something, like what would you guys put under this bed? I guess if you were moving in, how would you do it here? And speaking of that bed, you might have noticed the bed base was queen size, 60 by 80. but we're looking at a king bed. Now, when you get the king bed option, you get a wider mattress, and you do get, let me lift this up here, you know, decking that is wide enough to actually support the entire bed. So, like, if you sit on the side of it, you're not going to, like, slinky off the side of the bed or accidentally roll and slump out of it at night. But you do have a choice between a 70 by 80 king that we're looking at and a 60 by 80 queen on these. Also, this is something Montana has done on all of the high countries and full Monties, as it were, is these elevated side stands, because there's not always a lot of room, you know, in a bed slide. You can't exactly always put a stand down there where you would really want to. So they're trying to come up with a different solution, and I would be open to your input on this. Like, we've had some kind of mixed reviews so far. Some people are like, that's brilliant, and some people say, no, that's stupid. I will tell you, I've done the sit-up test. You don't tend to hit your head and your shoulder on it, even as tall as I am. Again, because Montana is very good about using as much height in the RV as they can. Remember, they have that taller 6.5-foot upper deck, and they've made the slide ceiling, you know, as tall as they could be. You might have noticed there was a set of household outlets in the ceiling of the slide over there. And then over here in that little bedroom, bathroom kind of partition, you've got a set of plugs there. Now, this floor plane, more than most, is definitely very CPAP friendly right there. I think that these elevated stands might have been partially intended for CPAP friendliness, but, like, I'm not a CPAP user, so I don't have good personal experience with that. But I look at stuff like that'd be a nice little charging spot. I could have my phone charger, you know, Dick Tracy, base to Tracy, stupid smartwatch charger, all those kind of handy things. I think I would personally find a lot of use for that.
And now, since this one shares the upper deck with the 295 and the 281, it shares the exact same travel accessibility. Even with the king bed, you can still open that door, which is no big deal. Bathroom access is not a problem here because it is over here on the hallway door side. That being said, to get to the toilet, you have to step in and, like, tuck yourself up in that corner, and then you can close the bathroom door and then get over to the toilet. But, I mean, you can make it work. The question really becomes, since they had to be really, you know, squishing everything together back here, can we get through here to the refrigerator? And here's what I found. Now, cold. I ain't gonna tell you it's easy, but with my pandemic poundage big belly dad bod, I can suck it in and understand I'm literally wearing 2 coats right now, 2 coats, 2 hats, 2 sets of pants, like, you know, 2 sets of underwear, just to keep myself warm out here. Hope you appreciate 2 sets of gloves. Okay, basically I'm wearing layers. I'm just going to leave it at that. The fact is, if I absolutely need to, and I need to get in here to get to the fridge, maybe to get some food, or let's say, like, you're diabetic and you need to get in here and get to your medicine or something like that, as you see, you can totally access this refrigerator in transit if you have to. And another cool thing about Montana's, whether it's a 2-way fridge or a residential fridge, they make sure every one of their floor plans, the refrigerator can go out the entry door. You don't have to knock a window out of a slide. You don't have to take a slide out of a unit just to work on a fridge. Hopefully you never have to worry about that. But in that event, something that's not fun doesn't have to become even less fun. Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern? And the biggest trick I'm not sure where I want to start out here, because the front of the camper looks absolutely awesome. With that windshield up front, the new color palette on these, it looks tremendous. But, like, I feel like I've seen this before, because I've seen it before with the 295 Montana, because once again, this is just a 295 Montana with a bunkhouse slapped on the back. So if you like what you see in the living room, the bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen, but you just don't want bunks, check the link in the video description. We have that too. Double awnings means double the flavor, double the fun, double, double, double mint gum. Remember that old commercial? Yeah, my references in my videos, I fear, are starting to become seriously dated. And all of a sudden, at one point, whatever the next generation's name is going to be called, like instead of millennials or whatever, they're going to be like, whatever, grandpa. And I'm like, hey, that's fair. Now, one of the things is this one has a smaller, shorter upper deck, so it doesn't have the exact same pass-through as like a 331 Montana with a giant drop frame area, although this is still a drop frame. It's just not quite as wide. That being said, I think it's still good size, but you're going to see how they compensate for that in other areas of the RV. Motion activated lighting down here is always handy. The outlets right there, by the way, they are prepped to run to that inverter. So if you are boondock dry camping or something like that, and you want to be able to run something out here and you add an inverter to this RV or get one of the more advanced solar packages, that is an available possibility. And a couple other pretty clutch details here. This is a new for 22 thing. Magnet holdbacks are not a new thing by any stretch, but one of the things I really do like is the magnet is also now pulling that little pin in there when the baggage door is up. So the baggage door is effectively locked up and it doesn't fall down and bonk you on the head or something like that. And speaking of not getting cracked on the head, tall people like me, you will enjoy the residential sized entry doors on Montanas. Not just 6.5 foot tall, but also 30 inches wide. So that makes just for a nice big, easier kind of come and go experience. And as you can see right here, we do have those David Blaine magic gravity defying steps where you don't have to worry about them like falling down and hitting you on the head or throwing out your rotator cuff or crushing your dog or your kid or whatever. The high countries have a nice high gloss exterior finish. That's one of those things that's very easy to miss. Like until you see it like that, it's hard to like see it and appreciate it. And because the upper deck does that little step up, they had an area back here where they really had some dead space that they were able to do some cool things with, and I really like what they did. So first of all, just like the front baggage door, we've got magnet holdbacks with the locking mechanism here, and where I think that's really critical is if you're camping in a place that's windy, or if the kids throw a basketball and it hits the baggage door, it's locked in place. It's not gonna fall down and hit whatever's on the stovetop and cause a spill, a splatter, a burn. Yeah, nobody wants to have to take a pause from their camping adventure because you have suddenly 3rd-degree burns on one of your kids, you know. The little Montana touches too. They've been doing stuff like this for years. Just the extra little cutting board. It's the touches. It's the touches that define Montana. The little things like that I love so much. Like if it didn't have that cutting board and I just said, oh, it's a camp kitchen, that'd be fine. They always find a way to do +1. And again, for safety's sake, that locks. You have to push down on both of those blue tabs at the same time to either pull out or push back that little cooktop right there. And because there is a cooktop, that means there is a gas grill quick connect. So if you prefer to bring your own little cooker situation, you got a propane cooker hooker out there, you can do something with it. And they did a good job putting windows all over that bunkhouse, didn't they? Look at that, man. There's just windows all over this thing. Now, there's a bit of a ladder shortage going through the industry right now. And Montana decided we're not going to ship anything unless it's like complete, basically. They're not going to ship anything without ladders, at least at the time of this filming. You know, I hope they continue to do that because I think that especially when you're, you know, in the realm of a Montana camper, there's just a difference in expectation, and they know that, and they really do a good job of living up to it. Now, remember how I said they had room since it's a step-up bunk room? Look at this thing. That is frankly, that's bigger than some of the tents that I've slept nights in, next to somebody. Well, I mean, suffice to say, it's RV Nerdism number 37. That is the junk in the trunk storage system right there. Whip crack. All right. Down below here, this is one of the few Montanas that actually doesn't have a towing hitch. It is an accessory hitch. My understanding is there was something structurally to do with that little like storage solution right there. They weren't able to put the actual towing situation on this one, but at least it is still like a hitch that can handle bike racks. But you know what? My folding e-bike, I bet I could put 6 or 8 of those things in that cargo compartment in the back. I mean, there's plenty of room back there for stuff. And what the heck? I'm so sorry, guys. Apparently, when I was reopening the slides after looking at road mode, I missed one. I'm so sorry. Apologies there. If you can look past that, we're going to keep on rolling today. We have our Saloon radials, which, by the way, these are rated for 75 miles an hour. And a lot of people don't realize this. They have 2-year longer warranty than even Goodyear Endurance, which I think is really sweet. You see the Road Armor suspension package in there, taking a lot of the bucking in, the chucking in, the herky-jerkiness out of your towing experience. And if you got a little closer, you may also notice that those have wet bolt fasteners, meaning they can actually be lubricated and maintained, and they can continue to work nicely over years instead of getting wore down and wore out. And that's the thing. Montanas are built not just for looking good and feeling good and working good today. they're designed to stay that way long term, and they're designed like that straight from the ground up. The other side of the baggage compartment here that we kind of peeked at earlier, I don't think you're going to glean anything new, but as long as the door's open, might as well peek at it. Now, did you notice how all the flip-up baggage doors still had those little silver mounts for gas struts? If you live in serious wind country, sometimes you may still prefer to have the struts just for an extra level of peace of mind. Montana lets you choose, you know. Our docking station's all enclosed, protected, forced air heated, insulated. And in case you're wondering, like, where's all the tank poles? Those are over here, where they're also interior protected. And the underbelly of this, the entire underbelly is enclosed. It is forced air heated, radiant barrier material lining the entire belly and the roof and the nose cap and all over the place on this thing. And every single holding tank has its own 12-volt thermostatic tank heater. So you can use them while you're traveling, if you're running through cold country, or if you're like trying to run. You ever sleep somewhere overnight on a camping trip and the temperature dropped way below what you were expecting? So the next morning you're like, holy crap, get unhooked. We got to make for warmer weather. Go, go, go. And you're like flying south or west or something like that. That's that extra little peace of mind to help get you through there. And what do you think about the new exterior on this? It's a small touch up, but like, especially that nose cap. It looks so drastic and high contrast to what they used to have. I think it looks, personally, I think it looks really, really great. Ooh, let's get up on the roof of this thing. I talked about them having a ladder. Let's check out that solar package. And in case anybody's wondering, I mean, I'm sure you can look around and you can see how we've had some snowy, icy weather recently. This trailer must have just come out of the factory because it is clean as a whistle and it is bone dry up here. I wouldn't be up here if it wasn't safe, so don't worry about that. We are definitely, though, very quickly approaching the season where Uncle Josh ain't going to get on the roof of too many more campers. Anyway, I really respect and appreciate how Montana went with function over fashion up here by going with just all white roof fixtures wherever they possibly could and wherever it was available. Especially your skylights and your AC shrouds. Anything that could really generate heat inside the RV, they went white across the board, which from ground level, maybe doesn't look quite as sexy, you know? But the fact is, it's more functional and it'll give you a better experience, especially in the hot sun camping, which is where most of us spend our time. Now, you have kind of noticed, I'm sure, this is a dual air unit, but look at the position of these. You have one 15,000 BTU air in the back, one in the bedroom. So opposite ends of the RV, both pushing cold air toward the middle means you have really effective, even cooling and helping out with that so that all of those AC ducts aren't getting baked by the sun. Those right there, there's a pair of them on this RV. The other one up by the solar panel are attic vents. So the construction of the roof is a big old gap that can just hold a ton of heat if it's not allowed to breathe out. In home construction, builders are required to make sure that can breathe. In RV construction, they're not, but Montana still does. It's those extra little things they do that makes a difference. And this is the base solar package available on this camper, the 200 system. It can expand up to 400 if desired. It is prepped for an inverter for up to, 7 outlets in this RV. If you add an inverter, it actually could run the outside fridge, in travel or off grid. Obviously, an inverter will tax the battery more heavily. But there's larger packages available on this as well, 400, 600 package, each of which are also expandable. If you'd like more information on that, I'll leave you a link in the video description describing the Keystone Solar Flex package. And one of the other cool things about that, Keystone said, I tell you what, if somebody wants to upgrade their solar package, since you're an authorized Keystone service center, you can do the work without voiding their warranty. I think that's pretty cool. Also pretty cool, my face. It is freezing today. So as always, I really appreciate your input and your feedback. You've heard from me here. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions or if you just want to check pricing and availability, I'll leave you a link in the video description where you can do that right there. Short of that, take care, stay safe, have fun, and make sure to subscribe, everyone.